Teeling, single malt, single cask, number 7920, only 276 bottles. Is it worth it? Hi, WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American that lives in Germany, and today I have Teeling. Teeling single malt, Teeling single cask, cask number 7920. This was distilled in May 2002, and it was bottled in January of 2016. So we have a 13-year-old single malt, single cask from Teeling. Over here in Germany, it was available. Maybe this was only at a Germany only of single cask because there were only 276 bottles from that one American bourbon cask. I have no idea where the cask came from. I'm so sorry. Whiskey base 81066, and over here I paid 79 euros for this, and right now it's available still. A few places have one or two bottles for 78 euros, so around about $95. The very first time I opened this up, I was like, it's different than usual. And let's see what the nose says. Wow. Did you see that smile? This is apricots. I don't know if you've ever had a whiskey that smelled like apricots, but this does. It's not yet it's almost a peach, but it's still the apricots. It's amazing. I've never had a whiskey that was so singular in its smell. The alcohol is barely there, the grain is barely there, the wood is barely there, but that apricot is so dominant. It's really, really interesting. And it's a sweet apricot as well. Now, I've been on a journey. I've been teaching myself all about whiskey and learning from others as well, of course. And the thing that really hit me one day was, hey, Jason, all whiskeys don't really taste the same. Now, I was under the assumption, you make an ass of you and me, that a certain type of whiskey just tastes the same. You take a Jack Daniel's Old Number 7, and it tastes the same. You buy a bottle here, you buy a bottle there, you buy a bottle 3 years later, it's the same. You buy a bottle of Glenfarclas, a 12-year-old, you buy it this year, you buy it 2 years later, it tastes the same. And then you start getting into these so-called single casks, where they pull one cask from the warehouse and it tastes totally different than a cask from the other side of the warehouse, maybe distilled a year earlier or a year later. And it's like a bell curve. You'll have outliers and you'll have things that average out, but you'll have some that are much higher and much lower and much more left and much more right. And this is what really, really amazes me, is that especially at Teeling, they were able, Jack Teeling founded Teeling Whiskies 1989. He bought from the Irish government a potato distilling plant and turned it into a whiskey distilling plant. And then Jim Beam came along 2011 and gave the guy a buckload of money. And he had the contract that was a non-compatibility contract, 3 years. He wasn't allowed to do anything. By the way, whiskey takes 3 years to needs to be before you can sell it in Europe, so no problem there. And he also took 14,000 casks from the Cooley, the distillery he found that Jim Beam bought, with him. And to start, his son actually, Jack Teeling, started in 2012, 1 year later, the Teeling Distillery. And so the phoenix rises from the ashes. And so these 14,000 casks, there's like 150, 180 different single cask bottlings so far. I have about 40 of them. And this is the first one I'm doing in English. As I said, cask number 7920. Available in Germany. I only saw it so far over here because there's only 276 bottles of this. So, apricots is what I get on the nose. What do I get on the mouth? On the tongue, on the taste buds, on the palate. It's amazing. It turns into pear. Oh, it's so good at the end. So if I was to do the nice little roller coaster that I often do, I'm going to have to do this again. 1 second, please. It starts off at a very high level. You have that pear, and then you get a little bit of the wood. And then this wonderful, wonderful alcohol-supported fruitiness just kicks in at the end. This is what you have. It's just so good. It's long. It's a long, long aftertaste. It's a sweet. It's a pear. It's a green apple, and it's still a little bit apricots in there. It's really good. This is a solid B+ for me. Now, as I said, I paid 79 euros. It's now going for 89 euros, so it's about $95. A little bit too expensive in my opinion. If they would have done for 59, I would have said, hey, solid B. But I'm going to give them a C for this. Now, I know Teeling, new kid on the block, single cask, 13-year-old, only 276 bottles. Jason, be happy that you got it for 79 euros. And I am. And by the way, over here in Germany and Europe as well, we can do bottle shares, which means someone buys a tenth of the bottle. Actually, we divide it up into 10 CLs, 5 CLs, and 3 CLs. So a seventh of the bottle, 14th of the bottle, and so on. They can try it. I'll just send them with a normal mail, just wrap it up, a little bit of bubble wrap. They transfer the money via PayPal, exactly the price I paid for it. No profit whatsoever in this. This is just part of the whiskey fabric over here. This is part of the community. And of this bottle, I've had about 5 CL max. And so the rest I've actually now already distributed to my whiskey friends all over Germany, and maybe even, I think one package actually went to England. And so you can take a look at my list of my samples, my sample list on www.WhiskyJason, just like the name. And if it's allowed to send samples to you here in the European Union, I'll be glad to do that. Take a look at the price list, take a look at the postage. We can also work on that, and we can see what happens. All right. So my question of the day, what aromas in whiskey was for you, or were for you, the most pleasant? That was the best smelling whiskey you've ever had. Now, this is not the best smelling whiskey, but it's up there in the top 20. Now, I hope no one's going to say Laphroaig or Lagavulin. That's going to go, oh, this smells like a bandage. Who knows? Maybe that is the best smelling whiskey for you. But for me, it's more in a different direction. And I love Irish, and I love Teeling, and I'm looking forward to all the different things they're going to do in the future. All right, WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American here in Germany. Teeling single cask number 7920. I gave it a solid B+, and the price for value was about a C. So if you want to be a collector, go for it. If not, go for a sample. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.